We are watching that massive hurricane that devastated the Bahamas and killed more than 20 people, including a Canadian. Right now, the eye of Hurricane Dorian is just off the Carolinas on the American East Coast. Dorian has regained some strength and grown in size. It's now a Category 2 hurricane, and its outer bands are thrashing South Carolina's coastal communities. Tonight, more than 200,000 homes and businesses are without power, and the pounding rain has triggered flash flooding. Intense winds are packing gusts close to 210 kilometers an hour, and there have been reports of tornadoes. People right along the coast are preparing for the worst, and for good reason. This is what Dorian did to parts of the Bahamas, where it hovered for 40 hours. On the Abaco Islands, there are only ruins now. Rescue crews are only now getting to remote areas, and the death toll at 23 is expected to rise. We know a Canadian woman is among the dead on the Abaco Islands. Alicia Lioli was from Windsor, Ontario. Harrowing accounts are emerging from survivors of the hurricane who are now being reunited with family. Some say they thought they'd never be rescued. Our Mike Drolet is in Nassau, the capital of the Bahamas, tonight.
Donna, Lioli lived in the Bahamas and worked at a school for adults with special needs. You can add her name to what is expected to be a growing list of people who've died as a result of this storm.
From his hotel room, a Reuters photographer experienced the moment Hurricane Dorian first hit Abaco Island in the Bahamas.
It's pretty bad. We're now going into a common area. Hopefully that'll be safer.
As we now know, nothing was safe about Dorian, which is tied for the second strongest Atlantic storm to ever make landfall. With winds as strong as this, neither Abaco nor Grand Bahamas stood a chance. A monster hurricane, Dorian battered the Bahamas for over 2 days, with winds that topped out at a record-matching 298 kilometers per hour. HGTV contractor and Bahamas resort owner Brian Baumler has set up a GoFundMe page to help those hit hardest.
From what we've seen, some of our pilots have flown into Abaco. Those two islands have completely gone through a blender. And people that had, relatively little have absolutely nothing left.
At the Emergency Crisis Center in Nassau, experts frantically work to put together a plan to get aid to the islands and evacuees off them. Hampering their progress, nobody here has ever seen a storm like Dorian. And while they've evacuated hundreds of people at a time before, they now have to figure out how to move tens of thousands.
We've had hurricanes before, many hurricanes, throughout the Bahamas and different islands. But this one is very different. This was a Category 5 that came and stayed.
The number of missing on social media lists are in the thousands. There are stories of people seeing bodies lying among debris, a scene described as a horror movie.
Never ever seen anything like this.
This was just so far beyond anyone's imagination.
The hope is that over the next few days, the flood of supplies will increase from the trickle we're seeing right now, and the Bahamas can finally start taking back some of what Dorian took. Donna?
And Mike, some of the worst damage on the Abaco Island seems to have been to a shanty town where thousands of Haitian migrant workers live. They had little before the hurricane, and now they must be completely destitute.
Well, far too many people who had far too little to begin with have even less right now. And we spoke with a pilot today who flew over one of these airstrips that has yet to open. And he says people who have nothing are now huddling there, waiting for the evacuation planes to start coming in to save them.